everyone, my name is Cassie Homan. I'm the horticulture agent in the Post Rock District, and I'm here with Pallace today.
Yeah, my name is Pallace Musser. I'm the horticulture agent from the Golden Prairie District.
So today we're at the Beloit Community Gardens, and we're going to be talking about fertilizing. So it's an awesome time to fertilize. It's about June, and some of our gardens are starting to come up and look really good. But a thing that has happened this spring is we've had a lot of rain. So that means that some of our nutrients have leached out of our soil, so we need to apply some fertilizer. So Pallace, tell us the difference of fertilizers we might choose.
Right, so you can pick between organic or inorganic fertilizers. And if you pick organic, that's going to be something that's naturally occurring, such as like our manures or blood meal or different materials that will break down into the soil and provide nutrients eventually, even some of our mulches like wood chips or things like that. But then inorganic are things that are man-made that are really condensed types of nutrients, like our nitrogen that we're wanting. And we have some products here that are inorganic to show you today.
Yeah, so when we think about inorganic, they're probably more common, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we would think about applying to our garden to really get a high level of nutrients.
So when you go to purchase a product of fertilizer, there's going to be 3 different numbers listed on the bag. And in horticulture, we like to think of that as NPK, or nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So when you're looking at a bag like this specific product, we have 19, 4, and 2. So 19 parts nitrogen, 4 parts phosphorus, and 2 parts potassium. And some products also have some little added things in it, like this has some sulfur and iron, but really if we're looking to green things up and get things going, you're looking for the nitrogen. And Cassie's going to share a little bit more about what each of those elements do.
Okay, so the 3 elements that Pallace was talking about are the ones that plants need the most: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And why we need a lot of nitrogen is because that provides really dark, rich green color for your plants. And often nitrogen is lacking in our soils. It doesn't stick to soils as well as some of the other nutrients, so we have to apply that year after year. So it's important to look for a fertilizer high in the first number, which is the nitrogen. Our next element is phosphorus, and it helps with flowers, roots, and leaf formation. So it's also really important, but often our Kansas soils have enough phosphorus. But if you might have a deficiency, your plant will turn kind of a purpley color and just look kind of sick. So potassium is that last number, and it helps our fruits to ripen during the summer. And if you have a deficiency in potassium, it will often just cause stunted growth in your plants, so they just will look kind of sick and unhealthy.
In order to get an accurate reading of fertilizer for your garden, you should go ahead and take a soil test. K-State recommends taking a soil test every 3 to 5 years, and that'll just give you a good reading of what's going on currently in your soils.
Right, because if you don't know what's deficient in your soils, you're kind of only guessing when you're applying fertilizer. So it's a great way to kind of set up a program of how to fertilize. So often when we get soil test results back, the only nutrient that is really lacking in our soils is nitrogen. That's because phosphorus and potassium are already in high quantities. So when you're purchasing a fertilizer, look for one that is very high in nitrogen. So this brand has a really great high nitrogen fertilizer. That's this first number, so the 19. And you can see on the package it is branded for lawn and trees, but it also works great for your garden. So don't let that scare you. Just make sure that when you're purchasing a product that it does not have any weed preventers. If it is a lawn fertilizer, sometimes they're sold as weed and feed, and you do not want that for your garden. So this one does not, it's just the fertilizer. It also has some sulfur and iron in it, which is great for our soils, because oftentimes our pH is a little bit high, and so the soil tests also recommend adding some sulfur. So, but whatever you do, just make sure you follow the recommended results from your soil test.
On your soil test, you'll get lots of recommendations of what types of fertilizer to apply, what amounts. Just really make sure that you're following the instructions on that soil test, as well as instructions on the product that you purchase. There's several different types of fertilizers you can buy. One of them is Slowrelease, which is what I'm holding right here, and the advantage of that is you only have to apply it once in the season, because the product inside of these little pellets will just slowly release over months that your garden is growing.
So another type of fertilizer is called Watersoluble, and what you do is you mix either a tablespoon or however much you need to fertilize into a gallon of water, and then you water your plants with the fertilizer. So this product you have to use a little bit more frequently, maybe every other time you water.
So the last type of product that you would use would be a type that you would broadcast around the garden. And that's usually what that lawn fertilizer that we're talking about is something that you would broadcast, and that just gets mixed into the top couple inches of soil and you water it in. And these are usually what's the highest in nitrogen. So this is something that we would really recommend if you're looking for that high nitrogen content. So really all plants need is some sunlight, water, and fertilizer. So hopefully some of these tips make it less intimidating to understand the nutrient part of gardening.
Yeah, don't be scared to get out and garden this summer. There's lots of local resources available at your community gardens or at your local extension office.